Good evening. Tonight I want to have an unpleasant talk with you. The energy crisis has not yet overwhelmed us, but it will if we do not act quickly. This is the greatest challenge that our country will face during our lifetime. The world will be demanding more oil than it can produce,
Well, even greater use of clean coal technology.
We need to have clean coal technology.
And that's why we have to invest in clean coal technologies.
If you own a coal mine, global warming's bad news for you. There's no real way around it except to gin up this concoction called clean coal, which doesn't really exist. At least at the moment, we have no way of burning coal without producing huge clouds of carbon dioxide that warm the planet.
And clean, safe nuclear power.
Nuclear power must be part of any equation.
We will also explore safer ways to use nuclear power.
Well, I've just discovered from the Department of Energy's data that the enrichment of uranium produces 93% per year of the CFC gas in this country, which is currently banned under the Montreal Protocol. Also, CFC gas, which is the refrigerant gas banned, is up to 20,000 times more potent global warmer than carbon dioxide, which accounts for 50% of global warming.
We must continue investing in new methods of producing ethanol.
I'm all for ethanol. I strongly support it.
We know that corn ethanol has been the most successful alternative we have ever developed. And I've been a champion of ethanol.
It's an alternative to oil if you're in the grain business. It's an absurd idea. The level of carbon that it takes to produce ethanol is much higher than the actual saving that you get from burning ethanol. In terms of a climate change strategy, ethanol is madness. Sadly, all the major presidential candidates at the moment seem to have been drinking the Kool-Aid on this one.
You request these the way you want.
There's a subculture and a submedia, and that has a profound impact that undermines what we call the mainstream media of the country. And so the decision-making ability of the American electorate has been profoundly impacted as a consequence.
With the DNC coming to town, it's like Santa Claus has dropped off gifts for the Denver Police Department, only these gifts are in the form of new riot shields, new security cameras, and gas canisters to use on protesters.
It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine.
Good morning, slaves, and welcome to another edition of It's the End of the World as we know it and I feel fine. The show that says hold the bacon. I am your host, the Stimulator, and before I dive into the Denver donkeys, it's about time I get some props to the brave workers at Climate Camp in the UK. This action couldn't be more timely, as our fucked up nation prepares to elect two pro-coal assholes. For the third year in a row, British environmental activists set up camp to protest the continued expansion of Heathrow Airport, bring awareness to global warming issues, and educate the public to possible solutions to our climate clusterfuck. As expected, British swine responded by horsing around and manhandling activists. For full coverage of Climate Camp 2008, visit the good folks at visionontv.net. Over here in the land ruled by Pepsi, Coors, and punk-ass Democrats, the resistance gathered in front of the Capitol building to hear some hardcore motherfuckers. Here are some highlights.
The necessity to recreate the spirit of struggle, the spirit of militancy. And because they dared to do that, everybody tried to shut them down. The police tried to shut them down. We're not going to give you any permits. The media violence baited them. Democratic Party hacks. Even people who you think are progressive, oh no, we've got to isolate them. We've got to marginalize them. But here they are today. And the fact that we're here today at this huge rally against occupation is our first big victory of the week.
And the question would be, what occupation do we oppose? What war do we oppose? All war? Any war? This war? That war? How about the war that's right here in occupied Denver?
After my main man, Professor Churchill, spoke, this douchebag from the O'Reilly factor tried to bum rush him into some obnoxious questions. But some peeps at the scene block his ass.
Why'd you stick that microphone up your ass? I just want to ask him a question. It's fair to ask him a question.
And sent a little message to Rupert Murdoch.
That's why we say fuck Fox News. That's your message. Fuck Fox News. Fuck Fox News. No Fox News. No Fox News.
I bet you somebody at Fox News was pretty fucking pissed.
Fucking thing sucks. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Let's do it. Come on. Crank up this finger. Yo, woofers and your tweeters. Turn up your receiver. We banging on the people. Yo, crank up your speaker. Yo, woofers and your tweeters. Turn up your receiver. We banging for my people. I refuse to be a stereotype in box. Never wanna try to be something I'm not. I'm just a nigga from the block. If you got it twisted, stay blowing on green. If you got it twisted on up, DP's giving a fuck. RBG'd up with some gangster chop. Throw your fists up, homie, if you know what's up. All my comrades putting in soldier work. We rolling dirty with it. Duty dedicated. So real that the radio would never play it, but that's cool. The enemy's supposed to hate. Freedom ain't gon' come till we regulate. That's why I'm in the dojo. Not just for the video, really though. Got beef with the po-po. Never know when they gon' put you in a so-called. This is for you new niggas on for the radio. Say, turn off the radio. Say it. Turn off that bullshit. Turn off the radio. Say it. Turn off that bullshit. Come on, turn off the radio. Say it. Turn off that bullshit. Turn off the radio. Louder. It's on the radio, propaganda, mind control, and turning it on is like putting on a blindfold. When you bring in the real, you don't get rotation. They should take over the station. And yeah, no, it's part of their plans. They make us think it's all about party and dance. So it might sound good when you spit your rap, but in reality, don't nobody live like that. You wanna know what kind of nigga I am? They would say about the nigga I'm not. I don't fuck with the cops. Platinum don't mean that it gotta be hot. I ain't gotta love it even if they play it a lot. You can hear it when you walk the streets. How many people they reach? How to use music to teach a radio program. Ain't a figure of speech, but don't sleep, cause you can be a radio freak. We say turn off the radio. Say it. Turn off that bullshit. Turn off the radio. Say louder. Turn off that bullshit.
If there's any wonder why the Denver cops ended up with such a bad attitude, maybe this video uncovered by the Denver weekly rag Westward will help.
This is a guffing parental advisory. There'll be hard mother-guffing language in this video.
Do you know any songs?
No, a whole lot of songs, sir.
Do you? Why don't you lead us all in the Camptown races?
I don't know that one, sir.
Can you tap dance?
Probably if I put forth an effort.
Well, let's see you tap dance.
All right. That effort's not in me. I don't know how to tap.
What am I going to do to put the effort in you? All you fucking niggers tap dance. North Denver. You're a little North Denver Mexican, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
You proud to be a Mexican?
Yes, sir.
Have you always been a Mexican?
Yes, sir.
You're a greasy little beaner.
Wait a minute. Rewind that shit. What the fuck did you just say?
You're a greasy little beaner.
That was a police training session taped in 1979, and it shows now retired Captain Arthur Hutchinson using his most refined skills as a multicultural police liaison. I spoke with Westward writer Jared Jakang Mahar about the video, the DPD, and Gitmo on the Platte. Hey Jared, how the fuck are you?
I'm doing well.
That video is from '79. Is this shit still happening today?
The police department, when I approached them and I asked them for comment on this video, pretty much their answer was, well, this was 1979. We don't train that anyway. We don't train that way anymore, so it's not an issue. But this actual video is part of a lawsuit by the Latino Peace Officers Association, who is representing a number of current minority officers within the Denver Police Department who say that this type of culture still exists at the Denver Police Department.
Normally, how many popos are on the streets of Denver?
The Denver Police Department is roughly 1,500 officers. For the DNC, they are recruiting and pulling in another 1,500 officers from surrounding suburbs and even from Cheyenne, Wyoming, to roughly double the force to about 3,000 police officers. In addition to that, there are 400 National Guard troops stationed inside the city, kind of on hold. And along with that, there are an unknown number of federal agents with the Secret Service, the ATF, and the FBI are all here in Denver collaborating in intelligence superstructure is what they like to call it.
What are some of the new shiny toys the DPD got for protecting the Democrat dog and pony show?
The Denver Police Department got a $50 million security grant from the federal government that was also given to St. Paul, Minnesota, where they're holding the Republican National Convention. The city has been reluctant to actually say how they are spending this money. We do know that at least half of that, $25 million, is going directly to the Denver Police Department in the form of new equipment purchases, new types of training for officers, and a really elaborate surveillance system.
Tell me about the new video surveillance system the PIC's got.
The surveillance system is something new to Denver. 3 years ago, the Denver Police Department didn't even really have a surveillance system. They set up one video camera on a street corner where there's a heavy drug trafficking presence, and even that single camera caused a really large public debate about surveillance in the public realm, and a lot of people were wary of that, but just that one camera caused that much public debate. What I don't think a lot of people realize is that with the DNC coming to town, the police department got at least $1 million to spend on a new wireless surveillance system called Halo, which uses cameras that are on a internet structure, so they can send images and sounds over a network without being connected to any wire. So they can move these cameras around, they can set them up in specific locations. Originally, the request for proposals that the Denver Police Department put out said that they were only going to be putting in 20 cameras. But when Westward went out a couple weeks ago and started taking photos of these cameras, we found more than 70 of these new cameras, not only put up around the Pepsi Center where the actual DNC is being held, but throughout downtown and around Civic Center Park, where a lot of protest-related activities are taking place.
What the fuck is Gitmo on the Platte?
The police department and the city like to refer to it as the Arrestee Detainment Center, a temporary facility built inside of an old warehouse. Activists and other members of the community have dubbed it Gitmo on the Platte for its resemblance to Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, and another detainment facility that was built by New York for the 2004 Republican National Convention, which was called Guantanamo on the Hudson. But what this facility is it's inside of a warehouse that was formerly used to store, ironically, elections equipment. But the city auditor had found that the facility was inadequate to store elections machines, and so it had been sitting empty for about a year until local news reporters stumbled upon it and started taking photos of it. The actual facility is about 50,000 square feet. It has numerous fence-lined cages inside of it, which the city is using to house and process people arrested during the Democratic National Convention.
Is it true that slinging shit is now illegal in Denver?
It is. The Denver Police Department pressured the city council to pass an ordinance banning certain types of protest tools. What it does is anytime a police officer sees someone carrying kind of a broad array of things that could be used against police officers, such as sticks or bike locks or types of PVC piping, the officer can go up and detain the person. They can now go up and arrest them, even though the person may not have even done anything yet. What is interesting is that the Denver Police Department and the City Council also felt the need to ban certain types of what they called noxious substances because they had been saying that protesters and demonstrators would be throwing urine and feces and in all types of different ways on delegates and police officers and everyone in between, which is funny because when I actually went and looked back through news databases, I had a hard time finding any such examples of urine or feces being used at demonstrations over the last 10 years, even though the Denver Police Department said that this was the case.
And that about does it for this edition of It's the End of the World as we know it and I feel fine. Stay tuned to my fucking website, stimulator.tv, for daily video updates of Rebellion 2008. Hasta la pasta.
Remember, kids, you can podcast high-quality video of this show at submedia.tv.
Well, now I'm going to show you how a magician might escape from a pair of these type of cuffs. This is for entertainment only and should never be used to escape from the police.
It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine.
Good morning, slaves, and welcome to another edition of It's the End of the World as we know it and I feel fine. The show where sleep is for Democrats. I am your host, the Stimulator, and Rebellion 2008 was pretty chill during the daytime hours. A prisoners' rights march took place in the morning where hundreds showed solidarity for all prisoners. Activists also performed demonstrations of pain compliance and torture.
Looks like we have an example of lawless behavior right in front of our eyes. Somebody's being held hostage and waterboarded.
Lebanon, you contacted student groups from Hamas and Hezbollah. We want the names of the people that you found. We know they're trying to create incidents at the Democratic Convention. Give us the names.
I was doing peace organizing.
That's not an answer. Answer him.
There isn't any organizing. I don't know of anything.
Yikes. The prisoners' march ended with speeches by some brave freedom fighters. Here's Pam Africa of MOVE.
The brother before me said he wanted to speak in his language. I want to speak in the American language. These motherfuckers, and I want you to understand what I'm saying. It's not Puerto Rican. It's not African. The word motherfucker describe like them people over there in the black. I'm not talking about you, brothers. I'm talking about the ones that are traitors to their mothers, that are traitors to their fathers, that are traitors to their daughters and brothers. They're not here armed to stand with us against an empire that must be taken down.
Political prisoner Mumia Abu-Jamal also made an audio appearance.
When I think of the DNC, I'm reminded of the words of the great French writer Voltaire, who, when speaking of the Holy Roman Empire, quipped, "It was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire." The Democratic National Committee is neither democratic nor national nor a committee. If it were democratic, why would it reject the voices of the people who protest against its rule? If it were national, it wouldn't be driven by imperialist and globalist corporate interests. And if it were truly a committee, then anybody could join it, not just the political puppets of corporate power.
As dusk set in and the spectators were inside watching the Miss America pageant, anti-capitalists were marching in downtown Denver. Soon enough, 5-0 got busy smashing protesters' right to free speech.
This is what happens in a nuts country.
Reports vary between 75 to 100 arrests, but Tuesday is a new day. Keep your head up, compadres.
Stolen land? Are you really for peace and equality? Or when my car's I'm leaving now. May I please pass? May I please pass? Who's in charge here? You're in charge? And you're instructing these officers to hold me here until you guys cut loose of the gas. Under what freaking authority? Come in your fucking street! Come in your fucking street! You say that's all dirty! Come show it! Look at all the I hear it all day, just so they can run the light and be upon their way.
As we saw yesterday, Fox News can't even get close to Ward Churchill. But will we ever let you down? Here's an exclusive interview with Professor Churchill by PepperSpray correspondents Lambert Rochford and Ariel Wetzel. Take it away, PepperSpray.
Could you tell us a little bit about why you came here today?
Because these are people who have been consistent in their opposition to the status quo, as they define it. I may define it a little differently. We'll get to that later on. Irrespective of those kinds of disagreements, they're consistent, and one of the consistencies that I have to support is that they don't negotiate their rights, nor do they require permission to exercise them, and most especially that they do not, under any circumstances, relinquish their right to engage in self-defense. So, that puts them in a class where the least I can do is come out and show solidarity, by at least making statements.
What do you think it's going to take to change the political situation in the United States?
Dismemberment of the United States into manageable bites so that local people, common people, average people have some say over how things are done, okay, which has the collateral effects of making things more correspondent to environment. And that's not just social environment, but the literal ecosphere that we inhabit, or subsphere, and a number of other things. Okay.
Is there anything in particular that you...
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm getting heckled from the side there.
That's okay. You're probably seeing a lot of friends here, too, if you want to say
Yeah.
I do. So, is there anything that you would like to say to the Democrats were you invited to the convention?
Start over.
Is there anything that you'd like to say to the folks inside the convention?
That's what I just said. Start over.
Oh, start over. I thought you said start my question over.
Nope.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying to the Democrats, okay?
Mhm.
Or join a political party.
Okay.
Okay? This is a charade. It's a form of theater. And I have no principled opposition to theater. In fact, I embrace it and engage in it. But we're supposed to be about politics here. Yeah. If you want to masturbate, do it at home.
Could you talk a little bit about what you see as being the problem with, like, what do you see as the problem that we're facing right now? That's, like, with the Democratic Party, or just with the, U.S.
Same problem we've been facing all along. Tweedledee, Tweedledum, Republican, Demopublican, okay? Look, I'm an old guy. I'll reveal how old now. My first campaign, although I was not in a position to vote, age-wise, was around Goldwater. Okay, and I opposed Goldwater because I hung out with an older crew because I was big. I didn't want my friends going to Vietnam for reasons that none of us could understand. Well, we beat Goldwater, and we all went to Vietnam.
And that about does it for this edition of It's the End of the World as We Know It, and I Feel Fine. Stay tuned tomorrow for Derek Jensen's thoughts on the Democratic spectacle. Hasta mañana, muchachos.
Remember, kids, you can podcast high-quality video of this show at submedia.tv.
there's just enough room to fit something very small in between the roller lock and the straps. A pin does just the job. By taking the pin and inserting it between the roller lock and the strap, you block the roller lock from the teeth on the straps.
We can let the president know he does not get a free ride on this. He must see you in the streets. This is not, don't be mistaken, don't be misled by what's going on. This is not about Saddam's connection to Al Qaeda. There isn't any. Absolutely, I got it out in the audience. The CIA says the same thing. There is none. It isn't about weapons of mass destruction. So the question is, what does he really want? War. And you are the people that can make it stop. The only reason I'm hopeful today, looking out at all your faces, some new young people, but I see some people that marched with me in the streets. God knows it was a long time ago. I see your hand. Yes, I see your hand. The Vietnam War stopped because the American people said it should stop, not the Congress.